Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. TalkNorth.com is powered by Bite Squad. Go to bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. Talk North gets you your first delivery free. John, I stay fairly busy, full-time job and running a podcast network, and I got a dog.
Yeah.
But your schedule freaks me out because it reminds me of what I did when I covered high schools.
Yeah.
And it reminds me when I was a beat writer and just obsessive about everything all the time. I hope you get Christmas off.
I will not be working on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, Jim.
That's something.
That's definite. And, it's interesting. Our office at the high school technically closes down for the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's a great benefit. Everybody gets some time off. But there's lots of holiday tournaments going on, and it'll be kind of a game time decision for me. I'll see who's doing what, and some hockey, some basketball, some wrestling maybe. But it's not out of the ordinary for me just to say, I'm going to stay on the couch.
I think your wife should drug your drink and lock the door and just make you watch holiday movies.
That may happen. Yeah,
good.
That's a good deal.
This is Preps Today with John Millea. He's John Millea, prep guru from mshsl.org. You can find John's journal there, all of his great stories. He also does this podcast where we talk about some of those stories and also talk about high school sports in general. We will do that today. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. If you'd like to advertise with this program, you can reach me at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. Please download before you listen. And thank you to Gourmet Parlor Pizza for sponsoring the program. GourmetParlorPizza.com. Check them out both for food, for great pizza, and for great fundraising opportunities. Also, there are more and more freezers around in grocery stores around the state. So look for that too when you're walking by the freezer in your local grocery store. Let's start with and listen. We're very transparent about the way we do this show. John's the high school expert. I am not. John lays out the topics. I just kind of spoon feed him and laugh at his jokes. That's what I'm here for. So let's start with Great Kate.
I like to be fed, and I don't mind laughing too, Jim. Yeah, Great Kate. This was a story I did this last week. I went down to Westbrook Walnut Grove High School. We talked about this a little last week. That's in southwest Minnesota, about 2.5 hours away from where I live in the metro. And the story is about Kate Jorgensen. Okay, here's a 3-sport athlete. Kate plays volleyball. She plays basketball. In the spring, she's on the golf team. She only has one arm. I wrote about her a couple of years ago when she was in 9th grade during the golf season. She lost her left arm above the elbow in an ATV rollover 5 years ago. And this kid is amazing. Like I said, 3-sport athlete. Is a junior, one of the first 2 kids off the bench on the basketball team. And it's just inspiring. It does my heart great. Every time I talk to her, this is twice now I've been down there, it's like she's smiling. She's just the happiest kid. Nothing stops her. This time I sat in the bleachers with her mom and dad, Nikki and Jim, who are great. And they're talking about her. I'm asking questions. And I asked them at one point, what did she have to stop doing anything? Because she's a lifeguard. She's a certified swimming instructor. She just does all these things. I said, what did she have to give anything up that she couldn't do? And Jim, they're both kind of thinking. And Jim says, well, she still plays the piano and does piano recitals. And then he says, oh yeah, she gave up the violin.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really a neat story. Her mom was telling me volleyball is probably the toughest sport because it's kind of hard to if you're in the back row, you're trying to dig the ball
Yeah.
with one arm. It's just not as easy. And it's her left arm that's not all there. So if she's going to go to her left, she's got to get that right arm over there. And really, really a great kid, though. She had a long day the day I was there. She was up at 4 something in the morning for a class trip to the state capitol in St. Paul. Got home. Then the next morning, she's 16. She's got her driver's license. She was going to get up early again and drive 45 miles to Marshall to job shadow an anesthesiologist, which is a field she's interested in. So she's going to scrub in for surgery by 7 a.m. the night after this long day. So really fun. And one thing I did on Twitter with this trip to Westbrook, I do this occasionally. I call it the prep pop-in. I don't tell people where I'm going, but I'll give them, I'll start out, okay, today I'm going to leave and I'm going to drive 2.5 hours, and then I'll send clues along the way. So I stopped for gas in St. Peter. Picture of the quick trip. Here I am in St. Peter. I've got, 84 miles to go. And people are guessing. And by the time I get to Westbrook, I pull into their one convenience store to go in and use the restroom, get something to drink. So then I'm sitting in the car with answering all these, you going to Laverne? No. You going to Pipestone? No. You going to Marshall? No. And then pretty soon, boom, boom, a couple people nailed it. And then I tweet a picture of the sign at the school, and just a blast doing that. Everybody had fun. It's lots of fun. But there are no prizes on the prep pop-ins. It's just a guessing game, and I've done it.
The prize is that John Millea comes to town.
That's the prize.
That's the prize.
But I'll tell you what, I had so much fun. I'm a small town guy, hanging out in a gym on a Tuesday night in a little town when the Westbrook Walnut Grove Chargers are entertaining the Adrian Dragons in girls basketball. Just as much fun as I'm ever allowed to have. So way to go, Kate. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's great. Great story. Let's go to basketball fashion news.
Yeah, this is. There's a lot of turmoil, Jim, around high school basketball. It has to do with pants, basketball shorts. This isn't a new rule. I see stuff on Twitter about this every day. Basically, everybody wears baggy, super baggy shorts to play basketball. This is not a new rule. It's a point of emphasis across the country. This isn't a Minnesota State High School League rule. It's a national federation. This is in every state. This is a basketball rule, and the National Federation has emphasized it this year. You can't grab your shorts at the waist and roll them so they're not so baggy. That's just I don't think you've ever been allowed to do that. And nobody wants officials have to come out and check on fashion before a game, but it's point of emphasis. They've all heard about it. And I think part of it is they don't want the strings of the shorts hanging out because it could be a safety thing. What are the odds? But that's what I've read from the National Federation. And, I've gotten emails from players, hey, you've got to change this rule. Well, it's not my rule. It's not the high school league's rule. It's a national rule.
Take charge, John.
People are way, I don't know. Maybe when they order new shorts, they won't go quite so big. It is what it is. Everybody just calm down a little bit. Everybody, all the basketball people, it's going to be fine. The game's okay. Shot clock, shorts, there's always something. So,
This can't be a tough one. It can't be a tough one.
What we need to do, Jim, is go back to the old school days of shorts.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Actually, that's the funny thing is that I when I used to play a lot of pickup basketball, and when I played lacrosse, I loved the big baggy shorts. I love the feel of it. Right. But you could also use the drawstring to make it tight around your waist. It's not that difficult.
Right. Yeah, just pull the string tight. If they're baggy, they're baggy. See if you can get a little smaller size.
Yeah.
That aren't quite so baggy.
This is not one of the great dilemmas in American history.
It's interesting to see everybody. It's just like the world's coming to an end. But it's going to be okay, I promise you.
I promise. I second that promise. Let's do a 2-sport Saturday in Rochester.
Yeah, the third Saturday in December has become a tradition for me. I'll head down to Rochester. It's a little over an hour away from where I live. It's an easy shot, as everybody knows, down Highway 52. Weather was great. So there's a basketball event at the Mayo Civic Center, the HVL TRC Showdown. HVL, Hiawatha Valley League. TRC, Three Rivers Conference. Basically, it's 14 games, half boys, half girls, teams from one conference playing the other. And the Mayo Civic Center is awesome. If you've never been there, they've got their big arena where they have concerts and And, they had like some women's junior college national tournament there, I think, a year ago. And then they have another facility right down the hall, the auditorium, which is a smaller, really cool old gym. So they use both gyms, games all day, small schools down in southeast Minnesota. So I spent much of Saturday there. I did duck out for a little bit. I went out on the edge of Rochester to Rochester Community and Technical College for the Minnesota Christmas Wrestling Tournament. This is a big deal. This is a good preamble to the state tournament, I think, because it's the same kind of format. There's 40 teams there, most of them from Minnesota, but I think 3 other states represented. And, big schools, small schools, and Simley, which is a Class 2A school, they won the team title. Cass and Manorville, another 2A school, finished second. So that is some pretty good Class 2A wrestling. The 3A schools are there, Apple Valley, St. Michael, the powerhouses in the big schools. But Simile and Cass and Manorville come out on top of that. Really, really fun, boy. But I was telling people at both places, I said, there can't be 2 more different events than a small school basketball event and a big wrestling tournament. The fans are different. The noise is different. Everything's different. And both great, both fun.
I do think that the basketball fans are much more likely to get on the officials.
Yes, that's one thing. That struck me as I was watching the wrestling tournament. And I know a lot of these wrestling officials, like I do on all sports. And wrestling is one sport where officials just don't get abused.
They really don't.
Maybe probably to some extent, but
I think the casual fan doesn't know enough about how to officiate it, and I think the dedicated fans are more into the technique.
That's it. And people will yell, if a kid has been turned, and give me the back points, 2 or 3, and that's a reversal. No, it's not. Just stuff like that. And I'm no technical expert in wrestling, but and big meets like that in the state tournament, there's 2 officials on every mat. One is actually working the match. The other guy's kind of observing from the perimeter. Then they'll switch. And wrestling officials are amazing. I mean, they all were wrestlers. Clearly, they know the sport. They work hard. They're down. They're down and dirty on that sweaty, grimy mat. And so hats off to everybody in Rochester. Everybody who was at those 2 events. It was a really, really fun Saturday for all of us.
Gourmet Parlor Pizza is based in Royalton. They've been there since 1980. They've been supporting this podcast ever since the beginning. We appreciate their support, and we also highly recommend them for supply. They supply pizzas to bars, VFW clubs, Legion clubs, resorts, bowling centers, convenience stores throughout Minnesota, now grocery stores. And John can tell you even more about gourmetparlorpizza.com.
Yeah, Jim, I'm looking at the list of items here you can purchase. You got your basics, your cheese, pizzas, pepperoni, sausage and pepperoni. There's a veggie pizza. Then you get down to the serious stuff, the chicken bacon ranch, the Philly cheesesteak. They have a breakfast pizza, a Hawaiian pizza, spicy chicken and jalapenos. That's not up my alley, but a lot of these are. They have gluten-free choices. They have a s'mores pizza. That sounds great. So like Jim said, especially for school groups, youth groups, community groups, you want to do some fundraising, Gourmet Parlor Pizza, our friends in Royalton, they will make it so easy for you. You'll make, on some of these items, you'll make more than $5 per item. Everything you sell through Gourmet Parlor Pizza, bottom line, at least $3 per item. As I said, to more than $5 per item. They deliver it. It's ready to go. And go to gourmetparlorpizza.com to see what they have to offer you. And yes, grocery stores. Their items are in select Cub Foods, Coburn's, and Kowalski's. Thanks again to Gourmet Parlor Pizza.
Let's go from pizzas to pretzels.
Pizzas to pretzels. Yeah, we had an up and down week of pretzel and cheese, Jim. Thursday night, it was at the Edina Holiday Classic, which is a long-running boys hockey event. It's not a tournament. It's kind of a round robin. They have Edina, Eden Prairie, Elk River, and Grand Rapids. And those are the same teams they've had for at least 2 or 3 years at Braemar Arena in Edina, one of the great high school hockey arenas. I was just there for the first day of this watching hockey, sitting in. They actually have a very nice media section, couple of rows, countertops, electricity, chairs to sit in one corner of the arena. It's a first-class operation. And I didn't even go to the concession stand. I had eaten before I got there, and I was there from 5:30. It's 2 games. I left close to 11. I was hanging in there okay. I wasn't starving. I wasn't toppling over. But I was tweeting that, from there, pictures and scores. And people at Braemar pay attention to Twitter, I found out, because at some point this young, high school kid working the concession stand, I assume, came looking for John. I'm John. Oh, here you go. Hands me a pretzel and cheese in the little basket, But as I tweeted something like, have you heard the stories about everything you